It's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the first county board meeting of 2024 to order. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States, one nation.
Our second order of business is to see if there are any nominations for chair. Are there any nominations?
I will nominate Todd Gresseth for board chair, and I will make a motion that we cease nominations and cast unanimous ballot in support of Todd Gresseth for Goodhue County board chair.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, with that in order, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner District 1,
Aye.
Commissioner District 2, Commissioner District 3,
Aye.
Commissioner District 4,
Aye.
Commissioner District 5.
Aye.
Congratulations, Todd.
All right, thank you. Second item is the vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Brad Anderson for Goodhue County board vice chair. And I will also make a motion that we cease nominations and cast unanimous ballot in support of Brad Anderson for vice chair.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? District 2?
Aye.
District 3? Aye. District 4?
Aye.
District 5?
Aye.
And District 1?
Aye.
All right, well, thank you, Brad. And by the way, welcome Susan. Susan is ill today, so she will be on virtual if there's any questions. So at this point, are there any disclosures of interest? There are none. We will review and approve the previous board meeting minutes.
Move approval as presented, Anderson.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second it. Any other discussion? All in favor? District, Todd, aye. Brad?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
And Jason?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Review and approve the following items on the consent agenda.
We need the board agenda first.
Oh, missed that one. Review and approve the county board agenda. Any changes?
Make change.
No changes.
There are no changes, Chair.
Is there a motion to approve the county board agenda?
So moved, Anderson.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Linda?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
I vote aye. And Brad?
Aye.
Motion carried. Review and approve the following items on the consent agenda. We have several here, so hopefully you've all had a chance to take a look at them.
Move approval as presented, Anderson.
Second. Flanders.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? We'll do the roll call on that. I lost my order. Susan?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Brad?
Aye.
And Linda?
Aye.
Motion carried. First item is our Land Use Management Director's report.
Thank you. All right, the first item today is a public hearing to update our floodplain ordinance. Goodhue County zoning enforces the FEMA floodplain ordinance as part of the National Flood Insurance Program. And FEMA rules require any non-conforming structure that is damaged more than 50% of its value to meet the floodplain's elevation and floodproofing standards if it'll be reconstructed. They do include a provision in the rules for repetitive loss, where if a structure is damaged by flooding on 2 separate occasions during a 10-year period equal to or exceeding 25% of its market value, it is considered substantially damaged. In order for property owners to apply for funds under the repetitive loss provision, the county's zoning ordinance must include this language. So adopting this language into our ordinance today means that property owners may use 2023 flood events and damages towards that 2 events in 10 years provision. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on this and has recommended the county board adopt the staff report into the record, accept testimony, exhibits, and other evidence presented into the record, and approve the amendments to Article 32 floodplain district. And this is another public hearing. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Motion to open public hearing?
So moved, Anderson.
Second?
Second?
Motion made and seconded. At this point, we will open the public hearing for the flood plain consideration. Anyone would like to speak on the ordinance? Anyone would like to speak on this ordinance? Third and final time, anyone would like to speak?
Move to close public comment, Anderson.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close public comment. We'll go to vote here. Jason?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Brad?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Susan?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I wondered if you had 10% damage one year and 40% damage another year, if that meets the 50% threshold, or if it has to be a minimum of 25% for it to count towards that threshold.
It has to be a minimum of 25%.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll vote aye.
Okay, motion made and carried. Second item, solid waste,
Adopt the ordinance now? We just did the public hearing.
close, okay. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved, Flanders?
Second, Anderson.
Any other discussion? All in favor, board chair votes aye. Brad?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Susan?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Motion made and carried. All right, solid waste transfer facilities.
Thank you. So the county board began the process to close the Wanamingo demolition landfill September of 2023. And there's a desire to have a solid waste disposal option in the rural area of Goodhue County with this closure. The landfill has used dumpsters to dispose of materials that were not allowed to be put in the ground for several years, and the use of the property in this manner would be considered a transfer facility, which is not permissible in the county's zoning ordinance. Staff has researched other counties' zoning rules and the state statutes. Goodhue County has a waste management ordinance from 1990 that defines transfer facilities. So staff has proposed and the Planning Commission held a public hearing on amending our ordinance to allow transfer facilities up to 120 cubic yards. It should be noted that this ordinance amendment would not be limited to the Wanamingo landfill property. Anyone in Goodhue County could apply for a conditional use permit for a transfer facility in an appropriate zoning district, which has been recommended in the agricultural districts, business district, and the industrial districts of Goodhue County with their township's approval. So staff has provided a recommended definition, performance standards, and as I mentioned, the Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on this matter and has recommended the county board adopt the staff report into the record, accept the testimony, exhibits, and other evidence presented into the record, and approve the amendments to Article 10, 11, and 20 regarding transfer stations. I'll leave it there, but I'm sure there will be questions. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Can I get a motion to open public hearing?
So moved, Flanders?
Second, Anderson.
Motion made and seconded to open public hearing. At this point, we will open the public hearing. Anyone from the public wish to?
We need a roll call vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, missed that. Okay, Brad,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. At this point, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this issue? Second call for anyone wishing to speak. Third call for anyone wishing to speak on this issue. Can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. Linda?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Brad?
Aye.
Okay, open meeting has been closed. Any other questions or concerns from the board? At this point, I'd entertain a motion.
I'd move to adopt the change to the ordinance.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Susan?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Brad?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much for all the work you did on that. We appreciate it. Next, we will have our county administrator's report, finance director replacement.
All right, after the December 19th meeting, the county staff met with the board chair and vice chair to review different options and review the existing format. And after discussing everything, it was, the recommendation was to maintain the current delivery model for the Finance and Taxpayer Service Office and initiate an internal-only posting for the finance director position at this time. And then in the event of the internal candidate is selected to fill the role, the recommendation is to promptly backfill the vacant position. Be happy to answer any questions, and then the number of the staff that were in that meeting are also here, so.
Any additional questions from the board? Jason?
Just a curiosity, I know we've done it before, why, is it just because we're looking at the staffing that we have, or why we're not opening it to internal and external?
It's not that it won't be open to external, it's just that it was, the recommendation was to open it internally first. If we have a viable candidate, we'd move forward with that. If we don't, then we'd go outside. We can certainly do both at the same time.
Any other questions from the board?
Well, I'll follow up on that one, please, which is, are you talking a week, 2 weeks, a month? I'm curious, because I know it came up before that finding a finance director is not an easy job.
Right. We'd go ahead and that might be even posted today if it's approved today, so. I would think we could have the process wrapped up in about 2.5 weeks.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
I guess from my, I was one who asked for a little bit more insight onto it, and my hope is if we review any of our replacements, that we take a real close look at it. Can we make other changes? Can we do this more efficiently? Can we, so I guess that was my question from the start is let's just make sure that we're all comfortable with it. And both Linda and I sat in on the meeting, and the biggest thing for me was the checks and balances of what the finance department does. So, so yeah, I would be in support of this. At this point, can we get a motion?
So move, Flanders?
Second, Anderson.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Jason?
Aye.
Board chair votes aye. Brad?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
And Susan?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is the county board meetings.
Yes, under Minnesota State statute, the county board needs to outline that outlines the requirements for our public meetings. County board needs to set those meetings at its first regular meeting, which is today. So staff recommends that you do that. I also want to note at this time that historically, the county board has participated in off-site meetings in Kenyon during the month of May, where the Kenyon High School students join us. And then also at the Cannon Valley Fair and the Goodhue County Fair. Those dates are May 7th, July 2nd, August 8th. And then additionally, we have our county board, the Night of Truth and Taxations on December 3rd at 5 p.m. The other times are outlined in your memo. And I also just noted that there will be a quorum, there typically is a quorum also on 5 other times during the year. The AMC Legislative Conference, AMC District meetings in June and October, AMC Fall Policy Conference, AMC Annual Conference also. So with that, I'd ask the board to set the regular meetings for the first and third Tuesdays, and the timing is up to the board. This past couple years during COVID, we've done 9 a.m.
Just a question. Do we not need to notice the assessors meeting in June?
That notice comes out from the finance department, but it doesn't have to be
They
notified.
have to be with this, okay. Because that's a quorum of the supervisors, or board members too, so. Okay, I would move approval.
We have a motion, and we have a second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Board Chair votes aye. Brad?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Susan? Susan?
Muted.
Sorry, aye.
Aye. And Jason?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we are going to official publications.
Yes, under Minnesota statute, the county board needs to annually contract bids for a qualified newspaper. This year, we have 2 of them, and I will go ahead and open those at this point. And just for reference, the 2023 rate is $5 column inch for both first and subsequent insertions. The first bid is from the Kenyon Leader. So their bid is $3 per standard advertising unit and $3 for consecutive insertion. The second bid is from the News Record. And the first insertion rate quoted is $5.50 per inch, and the second or subsequent insertion is $5.50 per inch. With that, staff recommends accepting the Kenyon Leader rate of $3 per inch for each insertion.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Any discussion, or we should have a motion first?
Motion to approve Kenyon Leader as the official publication.
Do we have a second?
Second,
We have a second, motion and second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All right, we'll go to the vote. Brad?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Susan?
aye.
Jason?
Aye.
And Board Chair votes aye. Thank you for your sealed bids.
Thank you. Okay, the last item is our committee structures appointments. And as you can see, the draft is in the agenda packet. We do still need representation on the Insurance Committee, the Minnesota Intercity Passenger Rail Forum, and Selco.
Do we have any volunteers for those?
I'd be willing to do the insurance committee.
Okay, Susan Betcher will be on the insurance. Intercity Passenger Rail Forum and Selco.
They're both mine. I won't abandon them, I'll keep going, but really, Selco just 100% matches up with another meeting, and I would appreciate someone to step forward and take that one.
Are those available virtual? Selcos or
Yep.
no?
Yep. They
And
do
where are they held, here in Red Wing, or?
Nope, Rochester.
Rochester.
At the Selco office in Rochester. I don't even know if it's over by Costco. Not, it's an easy commute, but, yeah. And the inner passengers rail, I thought probably should have gone to the other Great River Rail Committee. It hasn't met for 2 or 3 years, but they kind of go hand in hand to a certain degree.
And who's on that one?
Susan?
That's me.
Okay.
And Brad, is that a virtual meeting as well, or is that an in-person?
Well, they haven't met since before COVID, so I don't know what they would do.
Okay,
It was a lot of meetings, or quarterly meetings, when the zip rail was being talked about along 52.
sure,
And when
sure.
that stopped, we haven't had anything because they haven't had any funding to do anything. And to my knowledge, they haven't appropriated any funds to that yet. So it's not going to meet unless they get funds appropriated from the legislature.
Oh, I understand that. And, I'm sorry. When they met previously, where did they meet?
In the cities, and I got to think about where it was. If it was in the transportation building, might have been in transportation right by the state capitol.
Okay, and was it a daytime meeting or a night meeting?
Pardon?
Was it a daytime meeting?
Yep.
Or a night
Yep,
meeting?
no,
Okay,
they were daytime.
all right, I'll go ahead and do that too.
All right.
All right, and I will take the Selco, see if I can sneak it in.
All right. I'll get you information.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Do we need anything more on that? Those are just, we have to approve them? Okay. Can we get a motion to approve the appointments?
So moved.
Second, Flanders?
Motion and a second. We'll start with Linda,
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Brad.
Aye.
Motion carried. For your information, we have projects.
Director's report.
I missed that too. Very good. Finance Director's report. Lucas.
Good morning, Commissioners. The next item is to discuss the staffing for the 2024 Canvassing Board. The Canvassing Board consists of the county auditor, court administrator of the district court, mayor of the county's most populous municipality, and 2 members of the county board selected by the board from its members who are not candidates at those elections. So the dates of the first election, the presidential nomination primary, is March 5th, and that canvassing board must meet on the 2nd or 3rd day after the PNP. The next election in this year is the state primary election on August 13th. In that case, the county canvassing board must meet on the 2nd or 3rd day after the state primary. And the state general election is on November 5th. In this case, the canvassing board must meet between the 3rd and 10th day following the state general election. Commissioner Districts 1, 3, and 5 are up for election in 2024. So the county canvassing board meetings have been scheduled for March 7th at 1 p.m. for the PNP. And in this case, that can be staffed by any commissioner. And then for the, as I said, the primary and general elections, it can only be staffed by the commissioner from districts 2 and 4. The date of the primary canvassing board is on August 15th at 1 p.m. and the general is on November 13th at 8 a.m. So presently, we're requesting the board to discuss and determine which commissioners are going to participate in the canvassing board for 2024.
Well, Linda, go ahead.
I'll volunteer to be on the presidential nomination primary. I can't do the other 2.
I'll do all 3.
I'd say it's simple, obviously, it's limited down to 2 if Brad and I don't want to steal your thunder, Linda, if you want to do
Nope, that's fine. If you're willing to do it, that's great.
That's an assumption that all three commissioners are gonna run.
Could leave it open-ended then.
I would move that the presidential nomination primary members are Linda and myself, and for the other two, it's Jason and myself.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? We'll go with Susan.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Board Chair, aye. Brad.
Aye.
And Linda.
Aye?
Motion carries. Anything else?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It's gonna be a big year. I hear you're already working on it. You've been working several months already on it.
That's right, we'll have an update after this meeting.
Okay, thank you. For information, for your information, project status, staffing reports. Any county board committee reports?
I don't really have any other than, I guess I just want to, I'm glad we're moving forward to fill the finance director's position. I was talking to a neighboring county that just had to fill that and the number 2 position. And they went through a couple rounds, and then they ended up hiring David Drowns to help them find candidates. It's not easy, so I'm glad we're started with that. It may take a little while to fill that position, so.
Any other new or old business? Jason?
One comment, obviously we've seen the flag and the steel, the state flag and the seal redesign and everything, so I'm not sure how we'll move forward with that or what we have, but I guess I'd just like to make a motion on behalf of the county that we do not spend any time or money changing the flags currently, because I do not believe we have to, unless we get more information, until we can have more discussion about how we move forward. So.
Okay, we have a motion on that. Do we have a second? I will second that. I think there's still some now we have a discussion. So I'm thinking there's going to be some backlash and have some review on that. So I guess that would make sense to wait and see what the state, when they do make their final decision. So, and I don't know how long a process that actually is. So, Linda.
So are you suggesting that we then wait until it's absolutely finalized at the state level before we move forward?
Part of my motion, yes, basically, and we'd have to look at the state requirement of saying that as to the flag of the United States, you can fly any version that was, I think there's 10 different versions. And my aspect would be the Minnesota flag. I don't know how many we have placed outside, but like this flag doesn't wear out. I guess I would see going forth, there's no reason, if somebody in the community or the county wanted to donate flag, by all means, but I don't see any reason to spend any taxpayer time or money to replace the flag. The old one works just fine. I don't see any reason going forward unless for some odd reason part of the legislation going forward is requiring the new flag to be displayed.
Well, I guess my inclination would be that if the state of Minnesota changes the flag and it's finally a done deal, then it would make sense to change the flag to what now is the state flag as opposed to having a whole bunch of different flags.
Brad.
It's not our wheelhouse. It's not our problem. It's the state making that decision, and if the state eventually comes up with a different flag, then that's the flag of Minnesota. We can say what we want, but I'm a commissioner. I'm not a senator or representative. That's where that belongs. It doesn't belong at the county courthouse. As an individual, I think anybody can voice their opinion whether they like it or don't like it. I mean, as one of the people who had trouble accepting the rebranding we did at the county, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but it's not something that I can't say that all my people in my district say that this shouldn't change. I'm not in any position to make that decision. So I get it. We're not gonna spend any money until the state makes a decision. So I think it's a pointless motion, to be quite frank. I mean, you can have an opinion, that's fine, but it's not, I can't say that that's the county's opinion. That'd be pretty presumptuous on my part.
Scott?
Chair, from a staffing standpoint, we plan to watch and see if there's any appeals in the state legislature this year, and then follow suit after that to find out if, if the legislature does do anything before we do any type of action. But after that point in time, we would have to follow the sunset provisions of using the old flag versus the new flag. So generally, the county attorney tells us to follow the law, so we would do that.
Okay. Any other discussion?
That would be the best clarification I can get, that we don't just run out and put a different flag on because it was approved by a committee, so.
Okay. So currently we have a motion on the floor. You want to withdraw?
If we're content with, as a consensus of that description that Scott gave us, is that nothing will be moved forward until we get legal direction from the legislature and a county attorney, I'd roll with that, so I would withdraw my motion. So.
I'll withdraw this motion. I will withdraw the second. So. Yep. Thank you for the
For the
discussion.
clarifications.
Any other old and new business? I do want to talk a little bit more on the landfill. In the process of going through these last few months, it has been, it's going to be very difficult from my research that I've done, that if a private individual can actually keep a transfer station open financially, just with the limitations that the state has put on, it's going to limit the efficiencies for these transfer stations to haul out because they can only keep so much, and they watch the markets just like anybody hauling grain, when the metal's high, when the, so I think that we need to keep our thought process going that the county is very likely that we might still end up being involved in a transfer station. And I know, speaking to Sam last week, it was, now that we're going to have this ordinance, so we could actually legally be involved in one. So I think that's maybe part of the future of this. I'm not 100% sure, but I guess that's my opinion and all the research that I've done. So just wanted to stress that it's maybe not a perfect, ultimately for the county, it'd be great, let somebody else deal with it, but I don't think that's going to happen. But that's my opinion. Anything else? Can we get a motion to pay the bills?
So moved, Anderson.
We have a second?
Second.
Second, Jason. We're going to go Jason.
Aye.
Board Chair, aye. Brad?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
And Susan?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Motion and a second to adjourn. Jason?
Aye.
Board Chair, aye. Brad?
Aye.
Aye.
And Susan?
Aye.
Motion is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.